Okay, let's go for the Dimetric. So a Dimetric axonometric has got a specific axis system. So if all our previous axonometrics had the same unit on all reference systems, coordinate systems, this Dimetric has got two different units. On the vertical and the side axes, it's got a normal unit, and on the OX axis, it's got half the unit. So it means it's kind of deformed. Okay, this drawing type is kind of deformed because of the particular reference system. Right, so let's start with the volume. Again, it's the same approach as we did in the previous two drawings. You can see I've added these. I'm actually taking the measurements off of one of the previous two lessons, two exercises, just because obviously it's going to be the same measurement on two of the axes, so why not make things easier? The best approach for something like this is to again get the measurements, and then for the other part just split for the other axis, the OX axis, just split everything in half. Okay, so you don't have to think that much or analyze. Okay, the end objective is to just get a good drawing, not to measure every millimeter on your drawing, on your final drawing. Okay, so let's copy the dimensions and let's just put them there. We'll start exactly like we did before with the base, the first level, ground level, let's call it, and then go for the first level and second. Okay, so you will see that this axonometric, although it's in a more complicated reference system, you will see that it's significantly less hard to understand. Okay, it's significantly less hard to see the volume in 3D and to deal with the amount of work that you need to put in, because obviously you already imagined this, so it's already in your mind. You know, you did the exercise. This is the third time you're doing the same exercise with a different reference system. But again, just to show a point, every one of these exercises becomes progressively easier as you start. You know, just getting more experience, more perfect practice under the belt. You know, like they say, perfect practice makes perfect. Not just practice, but perfect practice. And this is perfect practice. So we are going through the motions right now, just finishing the bottom part of our axo. There's really not much to it. Just follow along with the drawing. It is going to have a weird proportion, but that's fine. The weird proportion is just a part of how things work. Okay, and once you're done with the weird proportion, you will literally be able to see this volume in 3D. We need to do the exact same approach with the construction lines. Obviously, the perspective is going to be deformed in new ways. Okay, so the axonometric perspective is going to be deformed in new ways because of this new reference system. But I'm sure you will really handle this axonometric well. Again, we are starting by creating the volume and then adding in the detailing. We won't stay and just just want to draw every millimeter from the first go. We will systematize our approach. Okay, you already have practice on this, so I really expect it to be a lot easier for you. Okay, and we are slowly building up the whole thing. Okay. Yeah, this is very good. Let's add the height. Yeah. This is the base. It's just about time we are starting the opening that you have at the first level. There's a gap in that horizontal plaque at 45 degrees. We are starting the columns. Okay, the heights are the same. Okay, you're progressively going to make more sense of this. It's a very, very easy, let's say, approach once you get used to it. Okay, good. Right, so now you've got a bit of experience under the belt with drawing axonometrics, complex axonometrics, so it's really going to be easy to create everything. Okay, good. So let's start adding every element. We are building our way up towards the first and second level. The mindset is 100% the same, right? Not sticking into, getting stuck on details too much, but focusing on how to first construct the volume and then start adding detailing. The cast shadows are again going to be at 60 degrees on a horizontal towards the right hand side. You'll see that this volume is a lot narrower because of the proportions of this reference system, which is fine. Okay, you just need to focus on how the final image will look like. Hopefully, because of the previous two exercises and the sketch, it's going to be a lot easier to understand how everything clicks. Okay, let's go. Up. Right. Okay, let's go for some verticals. Let's build it up. So, smudging wise, you might have this problem with smudging. I recommend you always keep your pencils sharp. If you need to, get a mechanical pencil, which will help with technical drawing. If you don't, then just remember to always rotate the pencil so you get that consistent line. Okay, and after that, just remember to always draw without pressing too much on the pencil. The pencil's own weight should be enough to get you a clear construction line. Okay, remember to systematize your drawing as much as possible. All vertical lines should be vertical, etc. Okay, I mean they should be vertical obviously, but you just draw them from one go. Okay, you don't rotate that triangle, as many times as you'd like. You just keep it as efficient as possible. I know this sounds a bit disappointing at this level right now, but as you progress, you'll notice that everything falls into the 95-5 paradigm. So more things will shift into the 95%, which is repetitive, and a couple of things will stay in the 5%, which is definitely different for all drawings and unique to all drawings. Previously I said it's the 80-20, yeah, but if you boil it down, it's really 95-5, like the real 5%, which is, really, a head twister in itself. Okay, good. Let's go for verticals. Yeah. Let's see how everything works. And this is going to be a very smooth going drawing. Going back to smudging, if you find yourself smudging, again, use a mechanical pencil if you need to. Always sharpen your pencils. Always have very easy-going construction line drawing. And then when you go for verticals, when you go for using a triangle, always keep your triangles in a pristine condition. Always wipe them or even wash them, literally in the kitchen sink or whatever. because they need to have that tidiness to them. If need be, get some Scotch tape and stick it to your triangles. That's going to reduce smudging quite a bit. Okay, and you'll use that for getting a bit more clarity. Okay, good. See detailing. Yeah. Right. Again, rotate the pencil. Try to minimize erasing as much as possible. Erasing typically creates a lot of smudging. You'd say that you erase something and that's a good thing because you correct a mistake, only to find out later then that your mistake spiraled into something else. Other mistakes come to be. Okay, so that's why you need to minimize erasing as much as possible. Okay, and we are building the side elements there. Don't forget we still got a symmetry axis. It's going to be a bit different because of the reference system, but you still got a symmetry axis, so what's on the left is on the right and so on. Okay, so it's not that complicated to just copy paste everything, in the right place. Okay, and yeah. See how everything clicks together. Right, vertical lines. Now let's go. Let's make things pretty clear. Yeah. Again, one of the difficulties is getting used to seeing things through a Dimetric view. Okay, so to not get stuck, to not get frustrated because it just looks different. It's got the same principles. Try to not get stuck too much in the visual side of things, as in you would be tempted to see things as see these volumes just as lines, but they're not lines. Okay, they're volume. See the volume, right? And when you see the volume, you understand it. That's kind of more of a rational thing, okay? So it's the rational part of your brain. When you got that sorted, then it's easy to adapt the volume and perspective and axonometric and whatever. Okay, this is why architectural drawing is a much more intellectual pursuit than, let's say, artistic drawing or whatever. Okay, right, let's see. So you got those top parts of the columns to draw. Really simple, really easy. Okay, just a bit more. We've got kind of a half an hour to go for this lesson. The video. Feel free to follow along. Pause the video, or I've noticed that most of my students watch their lessons on a mobile device. And because of that, they kind of follow along. Okay, that's a good way of doing it. It's going to help you a lot. You probably by now are used to this way of seeing things. In video, drawings look a bit different. Be assured, I did smudge a bit because there's too much lines. The amount of lines that you got on your drawing is just so immense that you can't avoid smudging, but that's fine again. Okay, good. Let's keep adding stuff to your work. Right, we got that element. This Dimetric kind of looks like a frontal view with spatial depth. Okay, that's just another way of seeing it. Okay, and thinking about it. Good. We've got that. Let's add all the other elements. Right, be sure to thicken when you need to, after you fill parts of your page with lines. Okay, don't wait. Okay, good. Let's see. Yeah. So those dimensions are going to be half the initial size, which means it's going to be quite a different proportion to these inclined planes. Okay. Right, let's take everything to the right hand side. Let's construct everything. Okay, very nice. Good. So we are adding all this detailing. Again, the same approach, exact same approach. After we're done with the construction of the volume, we will have the cast shadows towards the right hand side. Okay, now I'm at the mid-level there, where we will be drawing some of the other elements. Again, expect this axonometric to look a bit different than the others because of the different reference system. Okay, you'll see certain faces more, and I am 100% sure it's going to be a lot easier than the other two axos. You'll see that the Cavalier is the easiest of all of them, just the easiest. It's just really easy to do. Okay, because you've got experience and because it in itself is a lot easier. Thankfully, this is the only lesson you'll ever have to study, where you go and just do and draw a repetitive, tedious axonometric. All the other axonometrics aren't going to be so much a question of graphics. They will be much closer to a descriptive geometry assignment, okay? Okay, good. We've added everything. And now let's finish things off. Right. Okay, so the principles again are the same. We are keeping all lines parallel to the axes. And this is going to create this interesting volume. All the inclined lines are determined by an intersection of lines which are parallel or perpendicular on the axes. Right? It's the same approach. The weirder the volume is, the more additional lines you'll need to use to construct it. Okay, good, very good. So let's add everything in. Yeah. Right, I'm detailing there. Okay. Again, rotate your pencil. Try to always keep a very consistent line drawing. Don't attempt to add gradients for your lines in the technical drawing. Make the line consistent and always sharpen your pencil. I'm not showing it here, but I'm actually sharpening all the pencils here. Okay, good. Or they're previously sharpened, so I just draw with one of them until it gets a bit blunted, and then I discard it for a while, and then get another one. And once I'm done with I'm done through the rotation, I just go and sharpen all of them, and then get back to drawing. Okay, that's how I work this. But the thing you need to notice is the top part, which will have the volcano. Well, we'll have two ellipses. but these ellipses aren't the regular ellipses that we are constructing for an isometric. They are going to be closer to the custom ellipses that we get from basically the if you remember the side, the ellipses that we get through the side construction. You remember that construction where you get a half of the width of the ellipse, right? You draw a quarter of an arch and you intersect it with a 45-degree line, and then you get a dot and you bring that down and you take that width and use it to construct the intermediary points for the ellipse. We will do this twice because there's two ellipses, okay? For the top and bottom ones for the volcano. Okay, so you can already see that we got a lot of detailing here on our drawing. There's a lot of stuff. Again, keep your line drawing smooth. If you don't see your volume, you know, because it happens, you have a lot of lines and you can't see the volume. If that happens, then start thickening, okay, on top of the original line drawing. And once you're done with that, you can move on. Okay, good. Right. So some parallel lines over here because I'm basically drawing the parallels of of the bottom edges for the 45-degree thing. Because again, you don't want to construct everything. You construct everything when you're starting off, but then if you find an easier way, this is the trick. If you find an easier way which is valid, you use it. Okay. So in this case, gliding a triangle along the edge of another triangle is the easier way. Right, we will construct everything now. Don't forget to construct the back edges as well. You know, you want a lot of information in your drawing. You don't want a weird, you know, stupid drawing that looks like it's been copied off of a window. You know, like we used to do when we were children. You know, like copying off a book and they said, you know, this is my drawing, I've done this. No, you just want to construct everything because, you know, you want that intellectual side to your work. Okay, let's go. Just a bit more. You know, we are 2/3 there. We got just a bit more to do. The top part, and then let's thicken everything. Let's add some detailing for the base, and so on. Quick reminder, don't forget to use a A4 piece of paper under your drawing hand. If you're if you're left-handed, use it on the left hand, under the left hand. If you're right-handed, you know, you're doing it like I am right now. Just to avoid smudging. You know, you will tend to smudge with the side of your drawing hand. Okay, you don't want that. Okay, to minimize smudging as much as possible, we will do this simple trick. Okay, that's the top of the volcano, really good. So I'm kind of finishing the ellipse. As I said, you know, this ellipse is going to be constructed, and it's got the same approach as we used for, if you remember, the 45-degree and arch intersection. Okay, good, good. Okay, these side pieces there. There's two little side pieces that I don't want you to ignore. That's the purpose behind them. So it gets you to pay attention to the detailing. Again, detailing is essential. To understand detailing, you don't need to, as I said before, you know, don't get stuck into emotionally analyzing this. I like it, I'll draw it. I don't like it, I won't draw it. If you don't like that detailing, chances are it means you don't understand it. Okay, that's why you're uncomfortable drawing it. So if you don't understand it and you can't draw it, then you must try to do your best to draw it, because that's how you get out of your comfort zone and progress. I've met one student, has a funny example, that said, you know, they want to stay in their comfort zone. And I go, that's very nice, but chances are you won't progress too much. You just progress on what you want to progress. the best thing you can do is just stick to doing these 5% things which are uncomfortable, okay, because these push you forward. The 95% is just management, being reasonable with yourself and not being lazy, again, because attitude, the type of attitude you have when you're starting drawing is very good. It's very important. A good attitude is I'll finish things, I'll see things through no matter what, I'll learn new things, etc. Okay, the back edge is there. Very good. Let's see how we do that. And we are very close to finishing things off. We just got one more axonometric besides this, the Cavalier, which is really going to be easy. You'll really enjoy it. And yeah, this lesson is going to be pretty much over. It's a very repetitive lesson, to be honest. But even the repetitiveness of this lesson is going to be a trick of your discipline. Okay, it's going to be, a test of your discipline rather, not a trick. Will you have the discipline to follow things through all the way to the end of the lesson? Okay, very nice. Yeah, you got a couple more points there. Just drawing the inner sides of the edges. And now it's time to add thicknesses and the contour for the bottom level elements. Once we're done with those, we can start thickening again and constructing the cast shadows. Okay, very good. Dashed lines again. Always construct the lines and don't go for the line graphics. So you've got all your lines constructed and then you thicken them with a contour line, section line, dashed line. Don't go for the graphics in the first go, right? So don't go for a dashed line from the first attempt, because that is going to create trouble. Okay, you don't want trouble, you want clarity. Okay, good. Inclined lines over there. And we are slow but steady finishing this volume. Again, this is one of the drawings that probably, like most of these architecture lessons, architectural drawing lessons, if you see the final result and you don't know these steps and you don't go through these steps, you can't understand what's happening there. If you do see the final result, then if you went through these steps, then you understand everything. You break it apart in bite-sized chunks, and then everything makes sense. Okay, everything needs to make sense. Okay, couple more elements there. Okay, you can see that these dashed lines look really good. They add a lot of information, and we are slowly progressing towards the end of this lesson. Right, good. Let's thicken everything that we see. Again, after you're done with thickening the contour lines, maybe it won't make, it won't have as much clarity, okay? The drawing won't have as much clarity as you would require. You won't be able to understand the volume like you'd want to. Not because you're not understanding it, but because there's so many lines that, you go and re-thicken the most important lines, which are closest to you. Okay, re-thicken those. And if you do that, then obviously it's all going to click together. Okay. So a couple more elements there. And we are slowly going to finish this. Okay, it's looking really interesting. Again, it seems a bit narrow because of that proportion thing, but this is how it's supposed to look like. Really interesting, really weird stuff. A very graphical, technical drawing exercise. So it's just graphics. It's not that much of a problem of you know, getting an idea or whatever, or problem solving. It's just a matter of logistics, like you really following through with the rigorous part of this exercise. Okay, so a couple more back lines there. We are one step closer to going for the cast shadows, and then that's it. We can move to the cavalier. Okay, good. This is a very important part of the lesson, like finishing things. Right. So let's see those ellipses, okay? If you remember, that ellipse needs to be as wide as that part there, the triangular prism intersection. Okay, remember the trick. You draw a little square where you fit an arch and you intersect it with an opposing 45-degree line. And that's going to give you the construction point for everything, okay? Yeah, 2 arches because you get 2 construction points for both ellipses. Yeah. And let's add that there. So we can construct the ellipse. Again, an ellipse needs 8 points, 4 maximum points and 4 intermediary points at 45 degrees. Okay. So we are getting the intermediary points right now. To finish off the volcano. Once we are done with that volcano, we can thicken everything and go for the cast shadows, and that's it. Okay, really good stuff here. I'm sure it's connecting to different parts of what we've learned until now. You can probably connect this with a lot of stuff, you know, even the first lessons. You probably, you know, you're laughing right now, imagining like, yeah, I started with drawing a simple prism and look at this volume, you know, it's really complex. Okay, from a simple prism to this is a lot of progress. It's a lot of you know, study, and there's many more skill sets, you know, that you've learned and you've compiled over the last several months. Okay, good. I'm thickening the part there. Obviously, I need to do it by freehand because it's a very custom ellipse. And again, a couple of edges there that we need to thicken. Don't forget to squint your eyes to see where you need to you know, add more lines. And after we're done with that, a bit more of the visibility, and then we are finished. We're going to go for the cast shadows, and then boom, we're done. Next part of the lesson. Okay, so tidied up a bit, and we are going for the cast shadows. 60 degrees on a horizontal again, the exact same principles. And our shadow is going to look interesting, to say the least. Okay, because it's got a lot of stuff. You see, it's got kind of a weird outline. It's not like the monometric axo. There's not as much overlap. Okay, but it's still a bit easier than the isometric because, you know, these edges overlap. Okay, let's go. Yeah, really good. So those are going to be the parts of your volume that you will see as a cast shadow. Again, don't forget, just because of graphics, we need to have all these cast shadows with a thick cast shadow or section line. That needs to be 2 millimeters or 3 millimeters, depending on your drawing. You'd be tempted to say, yeah, but this will ruin my work. You know, it's going to create a, you know, outline that looks very, you know, thick and, you know, bulky and, you know, wide. It ruins the drawing. No, it actually contrasts the delicate construction lines and contour lines and dashed lines. That's part of the graphics. Okay, that's the part of the graphics for shadows. We will have future lessons where we will be hatching. You know, we will be hatching these cast shadows. Okay, so let's construct the other rotated column, and then we are done. We can jump to the Cavalier, which is the last part of this exercise. It's been a kind of a repetitive type of drawing, but I'm sure you got a lot out of it. Okay, good. Thickening everything. And just a bit left. Yeah. Just a bit there. After we thicken that, there's probably 5 more lines to draw. That, another horizontal edge, and a bit of parallel lines there. Yeah. Okay, and this is kind of it. Next